Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into a story that still sends a shiver down my spine every time I think about it. It's a modern mystery that revolves around something we all use every day, our phones. This is the story of the last phone call before the static started. It all began in a small, isolated town, the kind of place where everyone knows each other and nothing much ever happens. That was until a series of strange events began, all linked by a single eerie phenomenon. It started with one person, then another, and soon it was a town-wide panic. People would be on the phone having a normal conversation when suddenly the voice on the other end would be replaced by a loud, piercing static, not just the sound of a bad connection, but something more deliberate. At first, people dismissed it as a technical glitch, a problem with the local cell tower. But then the calls started dropping right after the static hit and they couldn't be reconnected. The person on the other end would be unreachable, their phone seemingly off. What was even more unsettling was what happened next. The people whose calls were cut off by the static started disappearing. One by one, they vanished without a trace. No signs of a struggle, no ransom notes, just gone. The local police were baffled. They brought in telecom experts who checked the lines, the towers, everything. They found nothing, no equipment malfunctions, no signs of tampering. It was as if the network itself was haunted. The disappearances continued and a pattern emerged. The victims were always alone when they made or received the call. The conversations were always mundane, everyday chats right up until the static took over. Our story focuses on a young woman named Clara. Her brother, Leo, was one of the first to disappear. The last time she spoke to him, they were planning a family dinner. She remembered his laughter and then that horrible, deafening static. The line went dead and Leo was never seen again. Clara, devastated and determined, decided she wouldn't just sit back and wait. She started her own investigation, collecting every piece of information she could find. She spoke to the families of the other missing people, and they all told the same story. A normal phone call, the sudden burst of static, and then nothing. She even managed to get her hands on an audio recording of one of the last calls. A man was talking to his wife, telling her he was on his way home from work. You can hear him say, "I'll be there in 20 minutes, I love." And then it hits a wall of sound so intense it's painful to listen to. It's not just white noise. There are strange, almost rhythmic pulses within it, like a distorted signal trying to break through. Clara became obsessed. She spent her days poring over network diagrams and her nights listening to that chilling recording, convinced there was a message hidden in the noise. The town was living in fear. People stopped using their phones, resorting to letters or just talking face to face. The silence was almost as unnerving as the static had been. One evening, while analyzing the audio file yet again, Clara noticed something. By isolating certain frequencies and slowing them down, she could make out a faint, repeating pattern within the static. It was a sequence of numbers, a coordinate with a knot in her stomach. She plugged the numbers into a map. It pointed to an abandoned radio observatory on a hill just outside of town, a place that had been shut down for decades. She knew she had to go, armed with a flashlight and a heavy wrench. She drove to the old observatory under the cover of darkness. The place was decaying, a skeleton of metal against the night sky. As she approached the main building, she heard it, a low hum, and through the broken windows, she saw a faint, pulsing light. Her heart was pounding, but she had to know what happened to her brother. She had to know what was causing the static, what she found inside. Well, that's where the story takes an even stranger turn, but we'll have to save that for part 2. What do you think was inside that observatory? Let me know your theories in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Thanks for watching.